This is Scott the Fix-It Guy to work today on a Frigidaire washing machine that has an E-90 error. It won't start. It's just when you power it up, you get the E-90 error, and that means it's time for a new washing machine control board. And you can get these on the internet, varying in prices. Seems to be anywhere between like $95 to $200. So it's good to shop around. You got to make sure you put your correct model number in. This is for the Frigidaire common front load washing machine, and this probably happens at around the 8 to 9 year mark. And to do this repair, we're going to remove the detergent drawer, and then we're going to be taking out a few screws behind it that are holding on the control panel. We also need to remove the top panel, and if it's a stacked washing machine with the dryer on top, we have to get the dryer off first. If it's not stacked, it's pretty easy. You just pop off the top panel. So to get the dryer off, we remove a couple of Phillips head screws here on the front that are holding it down. And then I like to pull in like a recycling bin or a garbage can that's about the right height. And then I'll put the bin in front of the dryer, and then I'll open the dryer door and grab the dryer, and I'll pull it up onto the bin. If the bin has a nice smooth top, it makes it a little bit easier for it to get up on there. It still may take a little bit of work to get it up onto that bin, but it makes it a lot easier. You might have to lift a little bit and pull because the feet sometimes will get stuck. But then once it's on the bin, you can wheel that out away from the washing machine. Now I'm doing the disconnections of the dryer. I'm going to turn off the gas first and then disconnect the gas line. I'll unplug it. I'll disconnect the dryer vent, and then I can take the whole dryer and just wheel that away from the washing machine and give me a little bit of room to work. I want to make sure the washing machine's unplugged, and I'm going to take off the top panel now by removing some screws on the back. On this machine, there were 2 screws for each one of the rear leg supports, and then 2 other screws I had to remove. I had to pry off the plastic piece here in the front that was holding on to the front feet, and then I was able to get the top off. And with the top off, I removed 2 screws that were holding on the front control panel. Then with the front control panel loose, I could just pull it out. And now what I want to do is remove the screws on the back of the control panel that are holding the controller to the plastic panel. Once I get those off, I can separate those two. I can get the controller separated from the plastic facade on the front. And I've already got the new controller in position. What I'd like to do now, when I get them separated, is just take the parts off of the old controller and put them on the new controller. There's a few plastic parts on the front that you have to switch over. They're these little indicator light lenses, so you just pull them out of the old one, put them into the new one. Just take your time. Sometimes it's good to take a picture too of where they went on the old one as a reference. So I'm just going to push those into position, and then there's a display module on the old one too that I need to use a standard head screwdriver to gently pry it out, and then I'll just push it into the new one. So it's very modular. I got to make sure I push it in as far as it'll go till it clicks. And then there's also going to be a black plastic dial that I have to pull out of the old one and then push into the new one. And then I have to very carefully take each one of the wire connectors, the modular connectors, and transfer them over to the new one. Might be good again to take a picture of where they went on the old one as a reference. And then once you've done that, you just are going to reconnect the controller to the plastic control panel with the buttons. and then put the screws back in, and then we'll go ahead and put the controller back onto the washing machine. There's a couple of screws that hold it in at the top, and then we can get the top panel pushed back into position, get the screws back in that hold that on, and then we'll be able to put the dryer back. So just take your time. It is good probably again to take a picture of where those wires go. So that E-90 problem is pretty common, and it's just telling you that the controller has reached that point where it's not going to work anymore. Another symptom for a controller replacement would be that the controller will just start to beep for no reason. Even in the middle of the night, it'll just turn on and start to beep, and it just means it's time for a new one. So once we have all that done and we got the top panel back on, we're going to wheel the dryer back into position. We're going to push that recycling bin as far in, as close as we can to the washing machine, and then we can slide the dryer backwards back on top of the washing machine. And then once we get it in position, we can work with getting the little feet, the little legs back into their corresponding pieces that hold it. And then after that, we can put the screws back in that hold the dryer down to the washing machine. We're putting the detergent drawer back in. We got the screws back in. We're going to put those two little screws on the front. And upon testing the washing machine, it did great, fired right back up, no more E-90. So it just needed a new controller. So hope that's been helpful to you and will help get your Frigidaire going again. Thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe.